And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Cosmic Encounter is one of the greatest games ever designed. 30 years ago, and it's a fantastic game. People have been playing it, and if you've never tried it before, this is the best year to get into it. Here at the end of 2008, Fantasy Flight has reprinted Cosmic Encounter. In my opinion, the definitive reprinting of this game so far. A game about negotiation and special powers. A fantastic game. Let me show you a quick overview of what the game's like, and you can see if this is the game for you. Each player has 5 planets in front of them, and you can use 4 for a shorter game, but 5 planets in front of them, and they start with 4 ships on each planet. What you're going to be trying to do over the course of the game is using your ships to attack other players' planets and establish colonies on those planets. If you get ships on 5 different planets that aren't yours that you start with, then you win the game. Now, because it's possible for more than one person to do that at the same time, 2 people can win the game simultaneously. In fact, in a 5-player game, it's possible for 4 people to win and 1 person to lose if those 4 people get 5 planets at the same time, which is a difficult thing to do. Usually 1 or 2 people win these games. Each turn a player goes, so let's say that it's red player's turn. The first thing he does is he turns over the top card of a Destiny deck. In this instance, the card says blue. So that means red must attack a blue planet. He can pick any of them. In this instance, they're all the same, so he picks just this planet here with 4 ships on it. He brings in the hyperspace cone, and he's going to be attacking this planet, and he can send up to 4 ships of his own. So let's say red sends in 4 ships. He removes them from some planets because he doesn't want to leave any of his planets undefended, and brings in 4 ships. Now, red and blue can both ask other players to join them. So let's say they both ask all the other players to join them. And so yellow agrees, and yellow sends in up to 4 ships. So yellow sends in 2 ships to help out red. And purple decides that they want to help out in the defense, and so they send 4 ships to help blue. Green decides not to help either player. So at this point, we look at the number of ships. Red here has 6 ships, and blue has 8 ships defending. Even though yellow and purple are involved in the battle, they're what we would consider allies. Now, both blue and red each are going to pick a card from the deck or from their hand. You start with 8 cards, and they're going to be playing it simultaneously. So let's say red plays this card, and blue plays this card here. Blue turns his over. It's a 13. 13 plus 8 is 21. Red turns his over. 15. 15 plus 6 is also 21. It's a tie, so tie would go to defender, and all the attacking ships would die. But before that happens, players can play reinforcement cards. And so let's say red plays a +3 reinforcement card on his. They win. And if no one else can play a reinforcement card, all the blue and purple ships die, and both red and yellow establish a colony on this planet, which would give red and yellow 1 colony on a foreign planet. And remember, you're trying to get 5 of those. Blue and purple, they both lost 4 ships. Now, as the game progresses, there's a few other things that are pretty important to know about. One is, instead of playing a number card, you can play a negotiate card. If you play a negotiate card and the other person plays an attack card, the person who plays a negotiate card automatically loses, but they get to steal cards from the other person's hand as compensation. If both players play negotiate cards, then they have 1 minute to make a deal. And usually that deal will be, I'll put a ship on one of your planets, and you can put a ship on one of my planets. And there's other cards involved in the game, artifact cards, which allow you to bring back all the ships that have died. Ships that are died are placed here in the warp. You get 1 back at the beginning of your turn, but usually the best way to get them back is through cards. And there's several other cards that play during the game, but that's basically the course of each game. You get 1 attack. If you're successful, you get another attack. After your second attack, or after your first if you lose, you go, then it's the next player's turn. And we keep going until 1 or more players gets 5 colonies on separate planets, and they win the game. That in and of itself is a semi-interesting game. I'm not sure how often I would play it, but what really brings the game up a notch is that Fantasy Flight has included here 50 aliens with this game, from the amoeba all the way to the zombie. At the beginning of the game, players have a choice between 2 aliens, or you can choose more if you want, and they're going to have this alien, and this alien is going to give them basically a special power throughout the course of the game. Some of these special powers are tremendously powerful, others seem less so, but all of them can come and cause you to win the game. For example, the warrior. Every time he loses a battle, he gets experience points. Every time he wins a battle, he gets experience points. When he's in combat, he adds those experience points to his total. The filch, he has the ability to steal the card that the opponent played. The Macron, all of his ships are actually a strength 4 rather than strength 1. The virus multiplies ships times the card number that's played rather than adding them. TikTok, he has his own ability. If after a certain amount of time goes by, he wins the game, even if he hasn't conquered planets. And so all these abilities are in here. Players have to really be canny in how they play the game. You only get a hand of 8 cards at the beginning of the game, and you get different numbers and counter numbers. So 14 may be a good one, but you might have a 4. You'll eventually have to play that 4. There's different awards for allying with different people. If you help the attacker and you win, you get a planet along with them. If you help the defender win, you get more cards in your hand. You do get a whole new hand of cards once they've all run out, but you could be stuck by having to play some tough cards. There are cards that cancel alien powers. And there's really a lot of negotiation back and forth. And that's what makes the game fun. When I say, okay, listen here, you need to help me attack them, we can both win the game together. Or I say, listen, you got to stop this attack because they will win. Or they will get ahead here. You need to help me out. You need to stop their power. You need to play reinforcements here. Look at his power. And some of the powers have a little bit of a mind game. Like the one mirror can reverse the numbers. But should they do it? What if your opponent played a card that reverses better than you? Or the loser, who can declare that the loser wins the battle instead of the winner. And so all these work together. And you say, well, some powers are too powerful, like the virus. Well, maybe. It is powerful, but because it's so powerful, the other players know that and they tend to gang up on him more and more. The game is best as a negotiation game. The game is best as a bit of a chaotic, and when you go into it, you have to know that. I played some games with people who just can't do well negotiating or do well understanding all the little subtleties of playing the different cards. They don't have fun. They're looking for something concrete. Cosmic Encounter is not concrete. It's a very fluid game. You'll never play the same game twice because with 50 aliens and with up to 5 players, the combination of aliens, the combination of cards, there are flare cards that give you even more special abilities. If, for example, this is the flare card for the reserve alien. If I'm not the reserve alien, I use the wild part, but if I am, I get to use a superpower. And so getting these cards can really change the game. Knowing when to play it. Just because you have a handful of powerful cards and a powerful alien, you still need to convince other players to help you and or not gang up against you. And it's every game that I played, just as long as I'm playing with people who have that mindset for a lot of fun, ends in a tremendous way. I come in and I still remember many years ago playing a game against my wife, and I said, we were at the end, we both had 4 planets. And I said, look, let's both play negotiate cards, and we can negotiate a planet each, and we'll win the game together. She played a negotiate card, I played an attack card, I won, she did not, and she never forgot that. The exact same situation came up 8 years later, just a few weeks ago, and I said to my wife, let's do the same thing, but this time she didn't trust me because she remembered that game from long ago. And situations like that are a lot of fun. As long as you keep it all within the game and realize and say, hey, I'm attacking him, you'll have a lot of fun. Fantasy Flight has done a good job with the components. The 50 aliens are all very easy to understand and have a wide range of powers. There's technology cards that come with the game that you can use as a variant. There are a big variety of flare cards that, like I said, give you the extra powers included with the game. And it's just a ton of fun in a box. This game has not been around for 30 years for nothing. You owe it to yourself to try it out. It will be an unforgettable experience.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.